get familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hello students, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I am going to explain you the concept of Bragg's law. Okay, so this is the video number part 6 for you in the exercise. Okay, please note down that. Now let us try to understand what is Bragg's law. Okay, so this is actually suggested by two scientists, W.L. Bragg, that means his name is William Lawrence Bragg, so we call it as W.L. Bragg, and his son W.H. Bragg. So I think it is William Henry Bragg. His son is William Henry Bragg. In 1913-14 year, they discovered the particular scattering of X-rays when it is incident on crystals. Okay, so that particular law is called Bragg's law. Okay, so what is the statement of Bragg's law? You just go through this statement. The law states that when the X-rays is incident on a crystal surface, so particularly you would consider crystals here to understand the Bragg's law. Consider the crystal and incident the X-rays, monochromatic X-rays on a crystal. Then what happens? See, each atom acts as source of scattering. Okay, see, look at this small diagram so that you will easily understand. So this is the part of a crystal. A piece of crystal is considered, and when the X-rays incident on surface of the crystal, see, it is consisting of number of atoms inside. Okay, and the atoms are systematically arranged also, so that you can have series of reflecting planes here. Okay, the crystal acts as series of reflecting planes in fact. So in that each atom, okay, when the X-rays incident on the crystal, each atom acts as source of scattering. So that means after scattering, the light can travel in any possible directions. In that, so one of the ray looks like a reflected ray here. Okay, that's why, so we can say that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection also. Okay, that is what suggested in the second point here. Okay, so each atom acts as source of scattering, and its angle of incidence will be reflect back with the same angle of scattering. Reflect back with the same angle of scattering, and the intensity. You have to note down the intensity now. Okay, so once it is reflected by the two successive atoms, what may be the intensity, whether it is a maximum or minimum. So that point to be noted here as when the intensity of the reflected waves will be maximum when the path difference between the two reflected waves, okay, path difference between two waves means what? See, we have to consider, let us say these two are the reflected waves. So the path difference will be there certainly between these two reflected rays, because they are reflected by two different atoms lying in the two different planes, So the path difference is very important here. Okay, the path difference between the two reflected waves from two different planes is an integral multiple of lambda. So you can consider this as a condition here. Okay, once again you go through this, when the path difference between the two reflected waves from two different planes is an integral multiple of lambda. Okay, so you can write down in the form of an equation also that condition, 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda, where this 2d sin theta, is called the path difference. Geometrically you can obtain the expression for the path difference as 2d sin theta. Okay, where d is the interplanar distance. What is that? See, there are a number of planes like this. D is the interplanar distance between the two successive planes, like this. And theta is the glancing angle. I and R are the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So theta is the angle made between the incident ray and the surface of the crystal. That is called actually the glancing angle. And lambda is the wavelength of the incident X-rays. Okay, when they are monochromatic, wavelength is constant. And what is n? So n is the integral number of various orders of reflection. You can take n is equal to values 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So for all these possible values, so you can consider the reflection. They are called first order, second order, third order, etc. Clear? So for n lambda, we get the path difference 2d sin theta. Okay, with this condition only the maximum intensity is obtained. You can see that. Okay, maximum intensity is maximum only with the condition 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda, and that particular condition is called Bragg's law also. Okay, now by proceeding this, you can have a small derivation to obtain the expression for the path difference as 2d sin theta. Okay, now let us see that part. Now let us see the derivation part of Braggs law. Okay, so look at the figure. So what we have, so in the diagram we are considering the atomic planes like this in the crystal. Okay, that means you can see that, so there are consecutive arrangement of atoms in a particular direction. Okay, in the two-dimensional array of the lattice points or the atoms, we can see that the dotted line is indicating the atomic planes or crystal planes also we can say, right? See, when the X-rays impinge upon these, when the X-rays impinge upon the crystal planes, what happens? The X-rays can penetrate deeper into the crystal, right? So that means, so they can go inside the crystal and then get reflected by the crystal planes. That is what we can see in the diagram. So here PQ is one of the X-ray. Okay, it is just reflected back as QR. Okay, so that means this first plane is acting as a reflecting plane for the incident X-rays. Okay, and then similarly you see the P dash Q dash is another ray which is incidenting deeper into the crystal and then get reflected by the atom at Q dash. Okay, Q and Q dash are the two atoms lying just one below the other. Okay, so the light reflected by Q dash is now Q dash R dash. So like that we are considering two reflected rays by the two crystal planes from the atoms at Q and Q dash. Okay, now for these incident rays, what is the glancing angle? So glancing angle is measured between the incident ray and the crystal plane, isn't it? So that is called theta. So for both the incident rays, the glancing angle is how much? Theta. So even reflected rays also makes the same angle theta. Okay, now you look at the path difference between the two reflected rays. Okay, how do you estimate the path difference? So now consider the perpendicular drawn from point Q to the ray P dash Q dash, that is QS. Okay, it is a perpendicular drawn from Q to S here. And similarly for the reflected ray Q dash R dash, a perpendicular is drawn from Q to T, that is QT. Okay, so you can say QS and QT are the two perpendiculars drawn to P dash Q dash and Q dash R dash, you can say. Then that gives the, what is the additional path travelled by the second ray, that is P dash Q dash R dash. Okay, then you can see the path difference, that is SQ dash and Q dash T. So only this part, you know, and this part. So this additional path is travelled by the ray P dash Q dash R dash. Okay, so now from this figure, let us consider the part of the path difference between the two reflected rays first. Okay, now look at the derivation part here. Start from the figure. Path difference between the two reflected rays, path difference between the two reflected rays, that is PQR and P dash Q dash R dash, is equal to what? As I said, SQ dash plus Q dash T. Okay, Q dash T. That will be equation 1 for you. Okay, from the figure we are getting the path difference length is this much. Okay, now from the triangle SQQ dash, you can see that it is a right angle triangle and at one side it is also equal to the glancing angle theta. Okay, by considering the sin theta. So in the sin theta equation, SQ dash by QQ dash you have to consider, isn't it? That is opposite side by hypotenuse. Opposite side is SQ dash and hypotenuse is QQ dash. So that defines the trigonometric relation SQ dash by QQ dash as sin theta. Similarly, from the triangle TQQ dash, you take the other triangle also, in which again theta is there. Opposite side is now Q dash T. Hypotenuse is again QQ dash. Therefore, again you can write sin theta is equal to Q dash T by QQ dash again. Right. So now we have to substitute the value of SQ dash plus Q dash T here. Okay. So for that reason, you take these two equations. Okay. So by cross multiplication, what is SQ dash here? SQ dash is equal to QQ dash to sin theta. Similarly, Q dash T is equal to QQ dash into sin theta. So therefore, the path difference, the sum of these two is equal to what now? QQ dash sin theta plus QQ dash sin theta again. Okay. So you can just substitute that path difference values here. So but what is the value of QQ dash? You can see in the diagram, Q to Q dash is nothing but it is equal to interplanar spacing, isn't it? It is equal to the gap between the two planes, that is the interplanar spacing. So you can just substitute it now. Q dash is equal to D. So d sin theta plus d sin theta you will get, that is equal to 2d sin theta. Clear? So 2d sin theta is the equation 2 for you. Path difference, geometrically obtained path difference is equal to how much now? 2d sin theta, where d is the interplanar spacing and theta is the glancing angle. Clear? Okay. Now you follow the condition. See, when these two reflected rays from two planes will reinforce again to get the maximum intensity, right? So what is the condition to get the maximum intensity according to reinforcement? Or you can say the constructive interference of the two reflected rays gives the maximum intensity, right? So according to that condition of reinforcement, or you can say condition of Bragg's law also, right? So the maximum intensity will occur only if path difference is equal to integral multiple of lambda, n lambda. So that is the equation 3 for you. Okay, just to compare this equation 2 and 3, okay, from equation 2 and 3 you will get 2d sin theta. See, 2d sin theta is the geometrical path difference is equal to now n lambda for maximum intensity, right? So 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda. Equation 4 is called now the Bragg's law. Okay, so this equation is called Bragg's law, or also called condition of reinforcement, because according to the condition of constructive interference, the maximum intensity obtained according to the condition of reinforcement. So that equation, corresponding equation is obtained as now 2d sin theta path difference is equal to n lambda. Okay, so n is nothing but here integral number, stands for n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. depending upon how many peaks we get in the reflected rays. Okay, as you change the angle, as you change this glancing angle theta, for various angles of theta you will get the maximum intensity. Okay, so let us see this graph to understand that part. So I versus theta, you have to plot the graph of intensity versus theta. Clear? So you can see that here, as you increase the glancing angle, the corresponding intensity is increasing to maximum peak P1 and then decreases. Okay, and then suddenly one more peak is observed here at P2 and then P3, etc. Okay, so in this particular graph we are getting the maximum intensity peaks P1, P2, P3 at the corresponding angles theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Okay, so first order n is equal to 1 you have to say, second order n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3 for third order, like that. Okay, so for the first maximum to occur, what is the value of sin theta 1? As per this equation now, you can take theta is equal to 1, isn't it? N is equal to 1, theta is equal to theta 1. So sin theta 1 is equal to lambda by cross multiplication, lambda by 2d. So lambda by 2d is the equation for sin theta 1. Similarly, for second order, take the corresponding angle as theta 2 and n is equal to 2 now. Okay, so that is 2 lambda by 2d. Similarly, for third order, sin theta 3 is equal to 3 lambda by 2d. So in all the equations, lambda by 2d is constant. Okay, so finally we can say the value of sin theta 1 is to sin theta 2 is to sin theta 3. What is the ratios? Okay, considering, ignoring the constant parameters, you will get they are all in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3. Okay, or we can say theta 1 is to theta 2 is to theta 3 are all 1 is to 2 is to 3 ratio also. Okay, in this way we get the different maximum intensity peaks according to Bragg's law when the X-rays are reflected by a given crystal. Okay, and one more thing you have to keep in your mind, that this kind of maximum intensity peaks are observed only if the X-rays are reflected by crystalline material. Okay, if it is amorphous material, non-crystalline material, then you will not get any such maximum intensity peaks at all. Okay, so that gives the idea to distinguish between whether it is a given material is a crystal or a non-crystal also. Okay, so it is an easy tool to understand or characterize the given material for crystalline and non-crystalline material. Okay, so that is all about the important Bragg's law with derivation part for you. Clear? Then I will see you in the next video.